utility company employees.
Hi, I'm here with Encore.
As a reminder, each permitted solicitor should be wearing a reflective vest like this. The vest should display a pictured ID on the front side and a permit number on the back side. As always, if you see a suspicious person or suspicious activity, call 911 and report it immediately.
My name is Talia Lopez. I'm the crime victim advocate for Duncanville Police Department. Crime victim advocate, what we do is that we help and support victims of violent crimes with education, information, and further resources. I work with a lot of domestic violence victims and their families. I provide support as well as resources. That includes the Women's Shelter, Genesis Women's Shelter, the Family Place, that's shelter for men, women, and children. Counseling support, because that's really important. Trauma support services of North Texas, as well as the Victim Intervention Program by Parkland. They provide those services, as well as immigration. I do assist with the U-Visa process, as well as Mosaic services. So there's an array of resources and services for victims that are experiencing domestic violence. Victims can contact me through my direct office line. That is 972-707-3832. They can always give me a call. I receive text messages as well, but I'm here to give them support and information.
Afternoon.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
we're ready.
Yeah. Since we do have a quorum, we'll call this meeting to order at 3:01 p.m. And receive public comments is the next item,
I
City
have no
Secretary.
public comments.
Okay, no public comments, discuss discussion. Item A is consider the minutes of the October 29th, 2024 Audit Committee meeting. Hope everybody's had a, hello, Mr. Frazier.
Hey.
I hope everybody's had a chance to read the meetings, and I'm looking for a motion. Okay, Mr. Talley and
I
Ms.
second.
Cherry seconds the motion. All those for? Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Jerry, you abstaining? Motion passes. Okay, I want to make sure. Motion passes. Okay. Item B, review and discuss the timeline and anticipated completion of the final report for the upcoming FY 2024 external financial audit by Patillo Brown Hill. Mr. Jackson, I guess the floor is yours for this
Yes.
item.
Mr. Chair, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. Seems like it was a very short time ago that we had convened to wrap up fiscal year 23 and back at it in an effort to stay on schedule for fiscal year 24. We certainly wanted to make sure that we had this opportunity to have a dialogue going into the audit process. I guess historically, this would have been a meeting that would have happened earlier on the calendar, but again, with us wrapping up 23 at the timetable we did, we're excited again to be able to what we feel is remain on schedule for an on-time completion of the audit. I had introduced the finance team at the, I guess, prior to the formal beginning of this meeting. Also wanted to have an introduction / shout out first of Assistant City Manager Kevin Hugman, who's immediately behind me, as well as a introduction virtually of our audit team, led by audit partner Mr. Todd Pruitt, as well as audit manager and supervisor Mr. Travis Rogers, both from Patillo Brown and Hill. What I have distributed to you all, and the PBH team has a copy as well, is just a brief outline of the audit for fiscal year 24. The first, I guess the first third of the sheet is a directory, if you will, so that everyone is aware of who the players are, if you will, from the audit committee members to the City of Duncanville Fiscal Services Department staff, as well as the individuals from Patillo Brown and Hill. So in addition to having the names down here on this document that certainly benefited from being able to put faces with names as part of this discussion as well. So that was the first thing I wanted to cover with this document. The second is just to provide a general timeline of vision is for this audit process to commence and to go. Starting in this current month, certainly we're having the audit committee meeting, so bullet point 2 will be checked off at the conclusion of today's meeting, but also the fiscal services staff is compiling and putting our information, our entries together as we're in our year-end closing process. So we feel that we are on track in terms of what needs to be accomplished and ready for what happens next month, which would be
So since you're saying that, Mr. Jackson, I'm going to read item C
Yes.
into
I'm
as
sorry.
well as preliminary scheduling of the meeting to discuss the the final annual comprehensive financial report. Okay.
So, beginning in the month of January, so just a couple weeks from now, is when formally the audit process will begin with the city and with PBH respectively. So we are looking for things to kick off the first full week of January. So the week of January 6th is when we're looking for things to begin. That will involve field work on site from members of PBH, as well as information that will be both requested and submitted virtually throughout the process for testing, evaluation, and part of the general audit process that PBH conducts. So that will be beginning in January. Moving on to February, timeline would be for draft financial statements to be reviewed between the city and the auditor respectively for both the ACFR or our financial report, as well as our CFA, our schedule of expenditure for federal awards, also known as the single audit. So we anticipate being able to review draft of both the financial statements and the CFA during the month of February. And also that once those drafts have been reviewed and signed off by both the city and by the auditors, that they would then be forwarded to the audit committee for review in advance of our exit meeting, which we would project to have during the month of March. So moving on to the last section of the sheet in front of you. So in the month of March, it is our goal to certainly have our exit conference to review the reports and get the final report from Mr. Pruitt and Mr. Rogers, respectively, as well as presenting the ACFR and the single audit to council. We certainly have a goal. We understand the timeline of a March 31st, 2025 timeline for us to be considered on time. And it is our expectation to be able to reach that this year. And so what we have timeline-wise is also that if our goals and our varying points are met throughout the process, would like to be able to present it to council during the month of March as well. No, from a requirement process, certainly before submitting to appropriate parties, that certainly the exit conference with the audit committee needs to occur first. And we certainly intend for that to still be the case. However, if possible, we would like to have it from a timing perspective at a time of the month that would allow also for the audit presentation to council to occur during the month of March, if possible as well. So we can package all of that together. So we certainly have it as a goal, but the overarching goal and the main goal that we're focused on certainly is completing the audit on time by 3/31 of next year. And certainly the last bullet point in terms of once all of the approvals have happened and we're in compliance with the meetings that we have for that, the reports would be posted to our website as well as submitted to all appropriate parties. And so I have highlighted GFOA, so it gives us certainly an opportunity to put our foot forward to receiving the award, for the city receiving the award once again, as we have not been eligible for the past 3 fiscal audits. So we intend to reverse the tide and return to what was established previously in that regard, as well as submitting the reports to our ratings agencies to make sure that they're abreast to our financial reports and the completion of them. And then finally, from the single audit, the submission to the federal clearinghouse. So we want to make sure that we're in compliance from that perspective as well. So again, just wanted to provide a timeline, good executive view, if you will, and something that you can tangibly take with you, and so we can review throughout the process. Certainly, if you all have any questions throughout the process, myself and Tia are available to answer any inquiries that you have.
Mr. Calley?
Yeah, Mr. Jackson is very impressive. If you can handle this, make this work, that'd be great. I do want to ask Mr. Pruitt, if you give me your stamp of approval, you guys can make this work?
Yes.
Your staff?
I feel very confident that this will work. It's essentially, as Richard mentioned, a normal, what we would consider a normal timeline in previous years, with the one exception of ideally we would have completed a week of interim work before we start in January, but that's nothing, certainly nothing that would prevent us from meeting the schedule that you have. I feel confident that we'll be completing the audit at some point in March.
Okay, so your staff will be able to do all the field work in January?
Yes.
Lord, okay.
We just added an extra week onto it. Normally we would do a week of interim work sometime in the summer probably, and we just added an extra week of field work into January. So we'll go straight from interim into the post-closing field work.
Let me ask Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, you gonna let your people go home? You gonna let your people go home at night?
Yes, sir.
Ladies, I'm trying to help you out over there, okay?
Yeah. No, the staff has been working extremely hard, and again, it's an opportunity to thank them individually. Jennifer, Georgia, Yvonne, and Jatoya, who's not here in the room physically, as well as Cynthia. And it also includes our procurement team. So Eldon Brock, our Chief Procurement Officer, Diane Mitchell, our buyer. But at the forefront of all of this is Tia, and what Tia has set forth internally for us in terms of outlining where we need to be, what we need to do, and when we need to do it, has been tremendous, and it's really helping us put our best foot forward in the process.
And I'd like to comment on that, because we have a good history with Patio Brown Hill as well as Tia and that stuff that's really making this process, I think, move further. Mr. Jackson, and I guess this also goes towards the Patio Brown Hill. Usually we do something else as well too, so we usually look at something else like cash control, AP controls. I mean, I made a little list of things. It's like P-card controls, or we fall into Prompt Payment Act, or the field house, and process and procedures and purchasing. Since you brought up Mr. Brock's name, and we're following those guidelines, so it is. In terms of that, is there any of those things that we're looking at that we're going to be testing as well, or should be testing as well? Or
Mr. Jackson, are you wanting the audit committee to give you some suggestions, or have you identified those areas that Don just mentioned?
A lot of what Councilman McBurnett mentioned is part I can certainly let the PBH team speak to that response, but a lot of what was included is on the testing that we've seen from PBH. That being said, we also wanted to use this meeting, Mr. Talley, as an opportunity that if there are any specific topics that you as a committee would like to forward, if you will, to the audit team for review and testing, to make sure that it is included, we wanted to, have the space for you all to do so.
Okay.
So with that, Mr. Talley, you've got the look.
Well, in the past, it's been a while probably since we looked at the field house, and I'm a little concerned about that. But you mentioned a couple too, Don. What'd you mention?
Cash control, AP controls, Prompt Payment Act, DCEDC process, field house, and purchasing. So, I mean, it's all progressive, but it's like, we've got some targets we can hit for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But he is our senior person. He's probably seen all the different lists of that thing, and so if he's saying to me the field house is something, then that's an area that I would say okay.
Okay. Mrs. Mail, how about you? You got any?
Well, I was just gonna comment that, as far as, getting on back on track with our award, which is, tremendous. Your record's clean, right?
I am clean.
And that's where you are too. They're about to start our new life with getting that award, which is important recognition that I know.
It is.
We've been blessed with having people that
That's
have
right.
kept us in line.
Yes.
So thank you very much, because I'm looking forward to starting that new record.
That's right. Miss Cherry, did you have any? Okay. Mr. Frazier?
Glad they're running on time. Glad they plan on being on
Right.
time.
That's a big amen right there. So, yeah.
So if we could, maybe a special project, maybe the field house, maybe this time, is that possible?
Mr. Pruitt?
He was given a nod.
Sure. Is there anything, are there any particular concerns that you would have, or just something that you want to make sure that you have proper controls set up in? Is there anything in particular that you were concerned about there?
No, I'm not in particular.
Right.
Okay. So we can definitely do that. Are there any other, any items that you know of that would have particular concern from an audit standpoint that would be out of the ordinary off the top of your head?
No.
Just going in?
Yes.
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question if we knew what to look at.
But yes, Mr. McBurnett, in terms of the other things that you highlighted, like I said, the AP testing, standard process, cash, part of the bank reconciliation process, procurement would be on the process and procedures. There's typically there's a variance of files that's sent that goes through the various process and procedures. Procurement would be one that would be part of the interviews and testing to make sure that we're in compliance with our with our own internal regulations. So those things would be covered as part of the audit. So just wanted to highlight that for you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other comments, any questions?
I was wondering what kind of lead time you'll have for the audit committee when you have that exit meeting to see the report beforehand? A week? 3 days? A month? I know it's not a month, but I'm just curious.
The last time I think we did several days, and so from a timing perspective, probably drove that more than anything, Mr. Frazier. But ideally, if we're in line with our schedule, would be at least a week.
7 days. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, obviously, based on this, we'll have some meetings, a couple of meetings scheduled between them. So, Mr. Jackson's very good about keeping me abreast or up to date of kind of how and where they are. So, we'll get the meetings and agendas written up.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Frazier. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
One more thing,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chair. Certainly, with item C, with preliminary scheduling, we're certainly looking into the month of March. Certainly want to be respectful of you all's time as well, and trying to give you as advanced time frame as we possibly can, and we're certainly appreciative in your pivoting not only for the October meeting, but certainly for this meeting as well. But ideally, I think we would try to target an off week from the council meeting, just for the council members in particular, so we're not loading Tuesday like today with a lot of meetings on top of each other. So ideally, calendar-wise, so that would target March 25th and March 11th, respectively, as potential time frames. Again, just purely from a draft perspective, we at least want to plant that bug, that proverbial bug, in your ear in terms of what we may potentially be looking at. But again, with the goal being to be on off weeks from the traditional council schedule, so as not to stack so many meetings on top of each other for the council members respectively.
And that's appreciated and stuff, because I already had listed down the meetings March 18th, the council meeting, and so it's like, okay. And
So we're gonna have the report by the 11th then?
that's the hopeful goal.
Or before.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely a goal of the 11th. But certainly if it can be achieved prior to, certainly with respect to the finance team as well as with respect to the PBH team, understanding that we want to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before we send out a draft to you all for that meeting. But again, just the goal of trying to get something out on your calendars as opposed to a last minute hands prayed call to Mr. Matt Burnett to try to get on your schedule.
And I have to say that they've been accommodating for
Yes.
that. But again, I think everybody here understands where we were and now where we are and where we're going. So.
Luckily, it was a hard sell for him to tell us he was going to have a 3 o'clock meeting, proceeding at 5 o'clock start for our council meeting.
Yes.
Well worth it.
Right. Okay. It looks like that's it. I don't see any other. Yep. So we will call this meeting adjourned at 3:25 p.m.
Wow.